What do you reckon is the most underrated piece of equipment or tool for blacksmithing?
I mean, at the moment, Blacksmith. Bit of a tool myself. This is the forge. This is what I work on. It consists of the fireplace, which I just recently fixed up, and the bellows out back.
So what did you just do there?
I unhooked it from the top. See that chain?
Yeah.
It links up to the top. The bellows need to stay elevated so the leather doesn't sag overnight. That causes the leather to become brittle. The building itself is 270 years old, and the bellows are about 100. So, I mean, it's quite a place. Quite a place.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for 3 months now.
And how long have you been blacksmithing?
I've been blacksmithing for a year.
Only a year?
Yeah.
You look like you've been doing it forever. Where did you do your course?
I did my course in a place called Cappamore, just outside of Limerick.
You did that and then managed to get into this forge here?
I did, yeah. So after, just before my course ended, I was having a chat with somebody who I'd been meaning to for a long time to link up with. And they just welcomed me into the forge and said, here, you can have a look at the space, see whether you might be able to use it. You're
kind of now effectively taking care of the forge.
I am.
You're the current caretaker.
Yeah, I'm the current...
How you doing?
Am I alright coming in?
Everyone knows you.
Everybody knows me.
But that's super cool. We were talking about this earlier on. This blacksmith has been kind of a centre point of the local town for the past 270 years. You were saying the previous guys would relay messages to other people in the village and whatever.
Yeah, he'd be the message keeper, so anybody going out to the turf fields and knows the time or the location or what field it is, they'd come down, they'd ask Tom Lyons. Tom Lyons would relay the information and everybody would know. And wherever people needed to gather, they'd gather outside of the blacksmiths.
So you're trying to revive that tradition?
I am. There's people bringing me things all the time, people asking me questions as to whether I can fix it. So it's a lot of fun.
So you're saying you have done the kind of lighter colour here on the forge we can see is your kind of renovation work that you have done, last week only?
I didn't want to go absolutely ham on the forge. I wanted it to be the way the old lads would have done it. So I filled in gaps. I got clay, sand and lime, and I repointed it all with a proper classic mix. So no concrete, it's just clay, sand and lime.
Before that, you were saying there was a hole at the top there.
There was. This stone here was leaning like on the wall, and it had cracked between the two. So I had to lift it up with Mark Wilson. We had to put a metal bar through to prop it up, and then I reline pointed and sealed the chimney. So the rest of the work is mainly just cleaning the workshop up and getting it back to work in order.
So speaking of workshop, centre point of blacksmith is generally the forge, but after that it's going to be the anvil, isn't it?
Not even just the anvil, but the stump itself has been used by Tom, which was working here years before I was. This stump and this anvil has a lot of history, and it hasn't moved for many, many years. So it's a very sacred piece of kit working on this. There's a lot of memory in this anvil.
Yeah, geez, the pair of it together.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the anvil looks old, but I think the stump tells it even more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So throughout the day we've been making a couple of bits, and we've been having a look at some of the tools. You might just run quickly through the main ones we've been using.
I've mainly used pretty much all of my hammers. So I have my ball peens. So this is a collared ball peen. I've got a hammer that was made by a friend of mine, Gwillem. This was for my birthday. This was my first hammer, my first proper blacksmithing hammer. Absolutely beautiful. Love using this. It's one of my favourites. My 2.5 pound, which is my heavy sort of forge down hammer. This is when I want to get work done. So using this this guy, it's why this bicep is larger than this one. No other reason. Make it look a bit more fancy. I've got Tiny Lad, which is my little working hammer. This is for the more decorative pieces. This is one of the tongs that isn't mine. So this is what I use for sort of longer pieces of steel and thinner. And then I have this pair of tongs that I made. These are my round tongs. These are sort of general use. Then I'll show you the rest of my tongs as well. So these tongs we haven't really used today, but these are all I've made. So I have a pair of tongs that carries 50 by 6, so really versatile for the wider sort of work that I need to do. I've got needle nose, which I forged down so it's easier to twist and leaves no mark. Then I've got 90 degree needle nose, which is for more like work that way rather than twisting. I've got my 20mm round tongs. These were 20mm bar forged down into a pair of tongs, so I can make 20mm tongs with 20mm tongs. These are my wolf jaws. This is 8mm, 10mm, 12mm with a 10mm centre. Then I've got my trusty pair of tongs here, which I made with Gwilym as well, which was forge welded collars. Front was done, one side was done by Gwilym, there's his name there, and then one side was done by me, and that was my side. So yeah, these are the tongs I use the most. They're the most versatile and really are quite nice to use. There. So I'm going to bring that around nice and tight. That's good. That's really good. And then my grinder, which I don't use a great deal, only when I need to. My drill. I'm repping DeWalt.
That big vice.
The big vice, which is my post vice. This is this does all the heavy labour in the workshop. This takes hits like no other type of vice will. Post vices are amazing. And then my hand forged tools, which I made out of spring steel, which are things like my logo. And it's backwards, so this is what the logo usually looks like. But you punch that into the whatever work you're doing, and it'll create a nice mark. Then I've got nostril punches or things like that for the horse heads. I've got normal chisels for doing the straight work. So these are the bigger bits of hair, and then I'll come in with my finer chisel.
The main.
And I'll do a few. That's like a little bit of extra texture and detail. I've got more rougher rounding chisels or rounding punches to sort of draw out material. I've got gravers for engraving, so I'm going to be using this to engrave different symbols and things into metal and then inlay them with copper, silver or gold. And then this is one of my hard-working chisels. So this cuts most steel, hot or cold. Which is my sort of blunter chisel. These are for sort of more rounded dish shapes. And then a finer nostril punch.
What were these guys called that you were using to cut on earlier on?
So the main things we were using today were the hot cut. This is for cutting hot metal. And there's divots on it that I need to clean up from when I did not cut it hot. Don't do that. Then the cold cut, which is this one. This is for cutting cold. Don't cut hot on cold, and you'll be grand. And then I've just got other tools, sort of more steeper or shallower rounded tools for making making collars. I have my cone for making nice rounded pieces. Try and round it off as much as I can. And I have bending jigs. And then...
Well, make the pair of these the same, obviously. And then you can custom make your L. Oh! That is clever.
The other punches that I've used today are the round punch for punching in the hole for the horsehead bottle opener that we did. And then nice quick blasts one side and the other. The eye punch for the eye that we popped on the horsehead. There we go. That's the eye.
Lovely.
So yeah, this quenching tank is not actually the original quenching tank. This is a concrete quenching tank. The original quenching tank itself was sadly stolen from outside the front of the forge.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. But
what was the original one made of?
Stone. So it was.
Okay.
It was quite expensive.
Wow.
But it's very sad. So I used the concrete one instead. And then this is just the coal pit. So this has been used for however many years to hold the coal. If I have a bag of coal, I pop it down there, and that means the coal doesn't spill out anywhere. So I get a shovel of that, and I've gotten my trusty sieve, and I pop the coal through the sieve, and clean up the coal that's in there, get rid of all the dust.
You don't want the dust on the fire, no?
No. Because that has impurities in, and it's mainly just, you want the more heavy stuff, not the finer stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, talk about that thing you're using there now.
So this is my fire rake. This is a fire rake that I forged myself. So I'm just going to clean out the fire now, scrape it out, make sure that this is the tuya hole. So the tuya hole is where the wind comes through, or the air comes through. Just going to knock off the slag on there as it builds up on the bottom. But yeah, this is my fire rake. So I forge welded the collars onto this. So forge welding is an old style of welding where you heat up the metal really, really hot to white, and then you fuse two pieces of metal together whilst they're white using a bonding agent like borax. So I forge welded the collar there, and also the handle onto the main stem. This handle I didn't do myself, but I saw my teacher do within my blacksmithing course, but now I know how to do it myself. It's not too hard, really.
Is that what that is? It's flat intertwined with round?
Yeah, so it's basically just flat with a round bar that went through, that was bent down, and then those two were twisted around.
Right.
So that's what that handle is, but it's very comfortable. I don't have any problem with it throughout the day.
Maybe just talk about that drill there. Your plans on getting this drill back in action.
So my main focus in the forge is to use no electricity. So it would be nice if I could get this up and running again and get all the parts I need. So I can use this drill rather than my power drill. In so doing, post drills are way more accurate. They require a lot less hands-on, just a bit more accuracy. But it's all mainly fully functional. Everything's still lubricated and has plenty of grease. It just needs a few parts really to start fully working. The only fuel I'll need is coal for the fire and food for myself.
What do you reckon is the most underrated piece of equipment or tool for blacksmithing?
The most underrated? I mean, at the moment, blacksmith.
The blacksmiths themselves.
Yeah, I think so. Bit of a tool myself. Yeah, no, I don't think blacksmithing or blacksmiths are appreciated near enough as they should be. However, if we're talking particularly about the tools that I use, this guy.
That guy.
The punch. Never underestimate the punch. He will give you the accuracy you want on the pieces of metal you need. and we'll make sure that your drilling is accurate and all your work is finished properly without holes going through places or being slightly off kilter. One of these does wonders and will do you for a while. And when you're done with them, they work as set eye punches, or you could just temper them yourself again. There's done. It's that tiny little feature. Just adds a little bit more character.
What's your least favourite tool?
My least favourite tool is the grinder and the drill.
Right.
If I had manual tools that I could use myself, I would. And any way I could get rid of the electric tools, I would. It's just right now I'm not set up for those things just yet.
Do you have a favourite tool?
Do I have a favourite tool? My favourite tool is definitely my hammer.
Right.
I mean, a blacksmith can't be a blacksmith without his hammer. And this hammer has a great deal of energy. It's got the hammer head that my friend forged. It's got a round stopper that my friend lathed. Another friend. Then this handle that I chipped away. And this side of the handle is where my blacksmithing teacher was a bit of a and ground down the whole side that I lovingly shaped. So I have loads of different people all in this one hammer, but I enjoy the history behind it and will continue to enjoy it for as long as it lives. What's my favourite process? Creating new things.
Creating new things.
Creating new things. The wool brackets today were a huge deal of fun.
Yep.
Because they were something I hadn't done before. I hadn't worked out how I would do them. They were an entire mystery to me at the beginning of the day. Now I know what I'm doing, and I can do these 1,000 times. But I didn't before.
The thrill of the chase is what gets you going.
It's the thrill of the chase. Like these guys, I made one, and now by eye, I can make as many as I like. You know, these are now starting to pump out like I never thought I could.
And these are the candle sniffers?
Candle snuffers.
Snuffers.
Yeah, so, and this was a commission that I'd never done before last week. And then I learned how to do it, and now I can do it.
What's your least favourite process?
My least favourite process. Doing the same thing over and over and over again. My mission is to be an artisan blacksmith. I'm not a wholesaler.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to be beating out the same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to be making different things. I'm going to be trying out different things, making spirals, making triscles, making snakes, making Mjolnirs, making crosses, making spoons, making candle snuffers and candle holders, making wall brackets, and seeing what else I can make.
So throughout the day, we've made a couple of things today, and we had a couple of things not go according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
What has been, in your entire time, been your favourite failure?
My favourite failure? Getting the measurement wrong on the wall brackets. So before we had an idea, well, I had an idea that I'd forge the wall brackets straight across and have a 45 foot and a 45 foot here. However, that didn't go to plan because the bracket here was too long. So I thought rather than we'll just cut off a bit, I thought no, we're going to go with it. Bend this piece, keep it strong because the structural integrity isn't going to be affected too much by a bit of movement there, and it looks even more beautiful with the archway now.
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic, rather than a straight, which I'm not a huge fan of. I like flowy, curvy sort of shapes rather than straight, boring edges.
So why did you decide to become a blacksmith?
I've liked the idea for a long time, but the real answer would be sort of, it's two angles. It's either a breakdown or a breakthrough. I like saying breakthrough because it sounds nicer, but a mental breakdown wouldn't be too far off.
Right. Led you to what? Make some changes and...
Yeah, a complete shift in my life, which led me to the course and led me to wanting to start my own business. Right. Which I did both of. And now I'm a fully fledged blacksmith running my own forge. So breakthrough sounds good.
Let's go with breakthrough.
Let's go with breakthrough.
Although there's nothing wrong with a breakdown every now and again.
No. A bit of tears is nice.
Can you tell us a bit more about the course you did?
It's a free course in Cappamore. Shout out to College of Further Education.
Which is in Limerick?
which is just outside of Limerick,
Yep.
with a fantastic teacher called Eric O'Neill. Without him, I don't think I would have continued the course. Without him, I would have never learnt the things I did in the way that I did. So if you can definitely keep this in the video, much appreciated.
Yep.
Like, he has been a godsend. He taught me everything I needed. He was the right support at the right level. He gave the right amount of encouragement and the right amount of direction, with the right amount of no direction at all.
Right.
To be able to get you to learn.
Yeah.
And he really did. So yeah, the course is free. It's a whole year, and it's for anyone around Ireland.
Well, thank you very much for showing me around.
And thank you.
And yeah, best of luck. I'll put all Reece's details on the screen and in the video caption, so check him out.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Reece.